And we are live. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Mercy, okay, I see that you have already been here before I came on. So something funny really happened right now. It's a face palm moment, and I don't know if I should share it or not. So I went live on a different session, like StreamYard. You create sessions as you're test running your platforms and all that. So I went live on a particular session. Our guest was already ready to come up. I was just speaking English and nobody was watching. At some point I had to check, what's going on. No. Why is nobody here? Only for me to check, and I saw that I was streaming to the wrong destination. Not just wrong destination, I was on the wrong stream. So we had to end that one and start and come on here. So let me start speaking English afresh. You're very welcome to the Essence Pre-Conference Conversations this episode. I'm super excited for a couple of reasons. The first one being that we are making progress, right? We're making progress with the conversations. We've had 2 episodes already in the series. We had the amazing Raymond Akbani 2 weeks ago. We had the amazing Ella Bands last week. And today we'll be having another person that I seriously always look forward to hearing from him. Like when I call him, it's always hours of talk because he doesn't get tired. I don't get tired because his thoughts are very rich. He's somebody that I respect, someone I like to hear from, and I'm very certain that you're going to learn from him too. So, if you're just joining us for the first time, this is Essence Conference Conversations. The real Essence Conference is going to be taking place in Lagos on the 1st of June, but we have curated these conversations to, you know, give you a glimpse of what you can expect during the conference. So, the Essence Pre-Conference Conversations are conversations that I have curated with um, a special list of speakers, of individuals whom I have been privileged to witness the genuine expression of their genius. I have watched them over the years, and I have seen how they authentically show up. And I felt, okay, instead of you just having these conversations on your own and by yourself, why don't you bring these people on so that they can share their journeys to authenticity, to growth, to fullness, to genuine expression? And that is why we are here. So before I get started, we'll have just 7% joining on here already. That is not encouraging. If you have anybody whom you want to be a part of this, take the link here. If you are on YouTube, copy the link and share with the person and get them to join. If you're in the group, go and wake everybody in the group. Let them wake up. It is time to engage in another conversation that I'm certain will change their lives. Mercy, okay, you're very welcome. Good evening. Jesse, Afsa, it's good to have you here again. I think your name is familiar, so it's good to have you here again. If you're watching, please let me know where you're watching us from, and your name and your location. Yes, your name and where you're watching us from. Without wasting your time, I will be bringing on our guest. I don't know how many of you were here last week. We had Ella Banks, and gosh, she poured her heart, she poured herself, she poured her entire being into the conversation. And the person I have today, Duke Peter. Wait, I'm not going to talk. Just get ready for baptism of fire. Coincidentally, yesterday was his birthday, and he didn't tell me. I had no idea. I had no idea. It was after reminding him of our session yesterday that he was like, Tinas, do you know that okay, 2 days ago, do you know that yesterday is my birthday? I was like, your birthday, and you didn't tell me. He said he hoped that this conversation would fall on his birthday so that he would give the attendees a baptism of fire. I said, don't worry, sir. Even if it is a week after your birthday, that baptism must be done. So get ready. Get ready. Who do I have here? I have Loretta Rose Ifoma. It's good to have you here. Who else do I have? Rosemary Choma Obi. It's so good to have you here. You're amazing. I hope you know that. Every chance I get, I have to tell you that you are amazing. Loretta Rose Ifoma. It's good to have you. Prince Chi Light. It's good to have you here again. Familiar faces. Deborah, it's good to have you here. It will be sunshine. Thanks for joining. Stephanie Williams, thank you for always joining. Deborah, it's your first time here. Good to know that. You're very welcome. Just take a seat. You're going to have an awesome time with me and our guest. Okay. Oche Joseph. I hope I got your name right. Is it Oche or Oche? Joseph, it's good to have you here. Esther Eze, thank you for joining. It's a pleasure to have you here too. Raphael Goodness, thanks for joining us. It's good to have you. Good evening. Rose says, I'm highly exuberant with joy to be here, Ma. For that to be in your active vocabulary, you must really be a wordsmith. It's good to have you here, Loretta. All right, without wasting your time, I'd like to invite our guest. Our guest is none other, like I said before, Duke Peter. I have known Duke for 2 years now. Yes, through our very own John Obidi. That was where I met him. Whoever that the JO endorses, you just have to endorse. and, I got to know him through Daddy JO, and getting to know him even as a person was amazing. It has been amazing knowing him. And he's somebody that I really, really respect. I said that a lot. This one I really respect. I love the way he does his things. I love his thought pattern. I love his approach to things. I love his resolute mindset. It's just so beautiful watching him express his genius. Like if he says this is it, he cannot change his mind. Just forget it. And that shows up in the way he shows up in the world, like that attitude, that behavior, that personality shows up in the way he shows up in the world. If he has his mind on something, you're better sure that he's going to see it to the end, no matter what, you know. So it's such an honor to be having my own friend join us here. I told him to send me his bio, and he sent something very, very short, but I said, it's too short. But then looking at it again, I said, okay, it's short, but it really captures the essence of what he does. So, are you ready to meet our guest? Are you ready? Are you ready? Duke Peter is a strategy consultant with dedicated interest in designing growth blueprints for entrepreneurs, thought leaders, marketplace functionaries, and kingdom envoys. Occasionally, he orchestrates targeted interventions. I shall not bite my tongue. Occasionally, he orchestrates targeted interventions and immersions for individuals and institutions aiming for transformative impact. Through his conferences, executive boot camps, and mentoring, Duke guides leaders in unlocking their potential for profound influence in their businesses and for society. Duke Peter didn't mention this, but he's the founder of Better Africa Foundation. I was in Calabar for his event in November last year, and it was amazing. He's doing so well, and it's such an honor to have him on here. Ladies and gentlemen, with a resounding clapping ovation, Jinaza, calm down. With a resounding clapping ovation, if you are also able to stand up and clap for this human being that is coming, that is amazing, that is awesome. Wait, I said I was going to put out the disclaimer before he comes up. Please, if it is possible, just download a dictionary and keep so that you can easily refer to it as he talks, okay? And take away every distraction, everything you know that will make you not to pay attention. Trust me, take it away, because if you miss a line of thought, you might not get every other thing you'll be discussing here. So get ready. It is going to be powerful. So if you are ready, let me see your fire emoji. I'm not bringing him on here until I see your fire emojis in the comments. Let us go. Let us go. Let us go. Not just clapping. Let me see your fire emoji. Burn that comment section down. That is the only time I know that you are ready. That is the only time I would know that you are ready. I said I was going to put a soundtrack on. I don't know. I forgot to do that. I forgot to do that. Yes, yes, I can see it. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. Rosemary is ready as fire. Let us go. Let us go. Jesse Alpha, I can see your fire. James Ambode. Hey, just say Ambode. James Abobade. Abobade. I will not bite my tongue here. You're very welcome. Macbeth, it's good to have you here. I can see your fire emoji. Yes, keep it coming. Keep it coming. Let us show our guest that we are ready for the value he's going to be bringing. Awesome. 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 I can see your fire emojis. Yes. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. Rosemary, you really want to burn that place down. You understand the assignment. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, here is our guest, Duke Peter, the phenomenal Duke Peter. Hi, Duke.
Hola. Hi, Nazar.
It is so good to have you here. Welcome.
Pleasure is all mine. Pleasure is all mine. Pleasure is all mine. I mean, I'm seeing the fire in the
They are
in the
still
comment
burning down
section,
that comment
man.
section.
We need to bring fire service to this place seriously. Someone should please
We
call fire
need
service,
to.
please.
Duke, thank you so much for joining me here. I am deeply honored. I, like I said before you came on here, I've been a big admirer of yours. Of course, you know, I'm a big admirer of your thoughts especially. Thank you for joining me here. Without wasting time, I'd like to really get on to the conversation of tonight. So this is Essence Pre-Conference Conversations, and these questions are the same for every speaker, for every person I'm bringing on here. But that is why we are doing this, because every question is going to elicit a unique response from every speaker, you know. And I have no doubt about this because I took my time with the help of God to curate our lineup of speakers, and I cannot wait to see and hear. I'm sure our guests, also our attendees, also cannot wait to hear your thoughts. So, what Raymond Okpani said 2 weeks ago is different totally from what Eloban said last week. And I'm definitely certain that it's going to be different from what you'll be sharing with us today. So, let us get on with it. The first question that I have for you, um, I don't know if you want to say anything to the attendees before we get started.
Okay, so firstly, I want to say very big thank you to you, Chinaza. I don't take this for granted, right? So this is literally like my first speaking engagement in my new year. So
Are you
you opened the
serious?
door for I mean,
Yay!
yesterday was my birthday, so this is my first speaking engagement in the new year. So
Actually, yes, that makes sense.
yeah, so
Yeah,
thank you so much. And then for everyone who's here, um, I am optimistic that we're going to have a valuable time, right? So
of
I like to
course.
have very interactive conversation. So of course, in the course of conversing, if you have questions, you can put them in the comment section. The team at the back end would do well to filter and then upload the most relevant questions, and then we'll take them. But then, I mean, we have an entire night to ourselves, so let's make it happen.
Okay. I see your Koyujoma Dicta says thank you for joining us here. Someone says I left YouTube for Facebook. You didn't have to leave YouTube now. I could still see your comments. Anyway, hi Kenny. It's good to have you on here. Princess Chidera is wishing you a happy birthday. And
Oh, thank you.
Stephanie also is
Thank you.
wishing
Thank you
you a
guys.
happy birthday.
Thank you guys.
Yes.
Thank you guys. I
All right,
appreciate
let
you.
us do this. Let us do
Yep.
this. Okay,
Yes, sir.
Duke, I am I am one person that is very passionate about essence. Essence. I discovered that in my journey so far, I have hosted several events, a few events, not several events. And the thing the theme that underlies each and every single one of them is the discovery of one's essence. I didn't even know.
Mm,
The event I held in 2020 was KYS, Know Yourself. That was just it. That was just the name, Know Yourself Conference.
mm,
And the people, I still get testimonials from people who attended that conference now. And then I look at other things I've been doing. They're just all about discovering oneself, one's uniqueness, one this and that. And
mm,
this year, last year, December, it just occurred to me that Chinaza just focus on essence.
mm,
Um, it's a broader term for all the expressions of you that you're looking to
mm.
bring out in all of these things. So, but when I ask people, what do you think of essence? They give me different definitions. And it's so interesting to hear. I want to hear from you. What does essence mean to Duke Peter?
Okay, so I know you planned that when I come today, I will come and speak English, and but I'll disappoint you.
You cannot disappoint. I
I
know
will,
that.
I will disappoint you. Okay, so
You don't have the ability to disappoint me here.
you will watch and see. I have prepared a specific set of words I'm going to stick to. All right. So
Okay.
when we talk about essence, it's a very interesting subject. Yeah. Oftentimes, and it's a subject that can go hand in hand, right? It's sine qua non with purpose, right? When I,
Mm,
I I wrote out a post this evening, and the post, the opening of the post is a quote, a popular quote that when the purpose of a thing is unknown, abuse is inevitable, right? But that can
yes.
also be said that when the essence of a thing is unknown, then abuse of that thing is unknown, right? Essence to
Absolutely.
me is the intrinsic value of a thing or a person, right? However, in
Mm,
establishing the premise of essence, we cannot regulate it to just the intrinsic value of a thing because essence is like crude, like right, like crude oil. Crude oil is valuable, but crude in its crude state is not resourceful, right? It's not resourceful to the most immediate users. So crude has to be taken through a process in chemistry called, I think, fractional distillation, where you would have
yes.
to subject the raw crude to heat, right? And at different heat and temperatures, right? You would
Yes.
have PMS, right?
Different
At a different
products.
temperature,
Yes.
you have diesel at a
Yes.
different temperature, you have, right? So, essence itself is that crude value, that intrinsic value that a person embodies, that a person has been entrusted with. I like to use the word
Mm,
has been entrusted with by, the intelligence of the
mm,
universe, by God, right? However, that a person has essence, everybody does, that a person has essence does not any form of that person would rudiment of transcendence, right? Into, I think I broke up for a bit there.
yes, you did.
Oh my. Are we still together?
Yes, we are.
You guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, but your video is kind of frozen.
Oh my. I'm not sure what's the reason behind that. Are we good? Are we back? No.
Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
Okay. So I was saying that essence is in however, and everybody has essence. However, um, one who has essence would have to be able to subject himself to a rudimentary process of translating that essence to essentials, right? Because that you have essence does not
Mm,
in any way mean or make you essential, right? The is that we become beings of essence, right? We become essential people. A being of essence is someone who's essential, someone who is valuable, someone who's resourceful, right? So the journey, how do we connect that journey? How do we connect that dots from possessing essence to becoming essential, right? And I established like crude oil, that crude in its raw state is not useful to the user, right? So it has to be sent to a refinery and then subjected to a process of fractional, right?
yes.
I hope I've been able to active to what essence, is.
Wow. Guys, did you hear that? The fact that you have essence doesn't mean that you are essential. I mean, every one of us has our own essence, but that doesn't make you
Yeah.
essential. I love that analogy of crude and fractional distillation. You must translate your essence into something essential. That is that. Hmm, that's a very unique perspective, Duke. I must say. Thank you so much for sharing that um, with us.
Yeah.
So you are somebody whom I know has been authentic in your expression.
Mm.
It's almost like you are not even, would I say, influenced by whatever is going on. You have a mind of your own, you know. How do you maintain? I'm still coming back to how to build one's, how to translate one's essence into essentials. But how have you, as an individual, as a thought leader, how have you been able to maintain your authenticity in both your personal and professional spheres? And what advice do you have for people who are seeking to find this balance?
Okay. So I I like to think that different strokes, work for different folks, right? But irrespective of the fact that a point of convergence, reality, reality, similar, right? And for me, how I'm able to maintain authenticity across board is I learn from the Bible a lot, right? And then story, right? Um, done that he was a Nazarene from birth, right? And then for Samson, do specific things, right? Samson was required to, for Samson, it was required that he doesn't tribe. Now, this was not the ground norm. This was not the rule of thumb for everybody. This rule was unique to Samson, right? And if Samson will exude, his essence in the weight of glory that it was deposited to him for his generation, it had Samson as an individual must stay in keeping with the requirements of this gift. He must stay in keeping with preservative procedures of these gifts. One included that he must not marry from a certain tribe, he must not drink wine, a strong drink, he must not shave his hair and all of that. And so you see that Samson's inadequacies could be, his generation could excuse all of his inadequacies, not because they were not seeing it, but because as far as he could maintain those rudimentary functions, those rudimentary aspects of his essence, he had a competitive advantage in his time above everyone. Now, for me as an individual, one of the things I had to find out, was what are my own specialties, right? Look at me like Samson, right? What are the laws that govern my expression? What are the laws that govern, my existence, right? What works for one person may not necessarily work for me. For example, I noticed that I work better like in pin drop silence. I focus better in pin drop silence, right? So because that exists as a reality for me, it makes sense that I should stay up late at night working and compensate for those sleeping hours in the daytime, right? I didn't hear a special voice telling me that thus says the Lord, thou son of God, wake up at night and start working. That was not how it would happen, right? I had to come to that point where I would speak to myself and then advise myself and all of that. But fundamentally, as it has to do with um, maintaining authenticity across board, one of the things that one guiding philosophy for me is, just knowing that everybody's running a unique race, right? Fall back to the story of Samson, like I just told. We're all running a unique race, and so um, I owe myself every opportunity I get. I owe myself every chance I get to be the best, right? And so when I get into a space, I'm not so particular about what what definitions of competition exist. I'm not so concerned about what the status quo says, right? I stay more in keeping with one, the demands of God for my life, the requirements, of God for me in that particular space, and then as long
Mhm.
as I can keep to that, right, it is that requirement that regulates how I interact with that space. For example, I don't engage with social media, out of pressure or, with performance pressure. There's this performance pressure that, was everywhere at some point. You must wake up every day, you must write a post, you must do this. I mean, that's wonderful, if your journey and your path requires that mode of execution. Many people have succumbed to that pressure. You have so many half-baked thought leaders, right? You have so many in a hurry to dispense what they have not yet processed, right? So someone can come to these live events for example, and he or she is just interested in writing, key points, so that he or she can go teach in a private mass class, and but you have not become. I mean, these things happen. I see them everywhere, right? You have not subjected yourself to the rudimentary process of becoming the knowledge that you're about to churn out. Because the thing about knowledge is that it has to first make you, right, before it announces you. So if you're saying
Mm.
something, and that's why, if, for example, John Obidi says something and I say the same thing, right, the impact of his words on an audience, whether it is a known or an unknown audience, the impact of his words on an audience would be different from the impact of my words on that audience, especially if we have been proven by that thing we are saying, you know. And so for me as an individual, I just like to keep in perspective, one, what is the demand of God for me, right? And on this space I am, right? Whether it's a professional space, it's a personal space, what am I required, right? How am I required to function here? And so I could be anything to anybody, and all of that, just because of this. I hope that makes sense, by the way.
Mm. It did make sense. It made a lot of sense.
I'm actually
Hmm.
preparing for a free fall.
Hmm. You see why I say your conversations always leave me in deep thoughts, because they're not, you don't say things that can just easily pass like that. You have to sit with it, ruminate on it before you move on to the next one. Guys, I hope you are following. Are you lost anywhere? Should you call him back? Should we draw him back to any point? Just let me know in the comments. Trust me, there's no judgment. I totally understand. We're in the same shoes.
I literally just have to I
Let
literally
me
have to
know.
stop so we can take the next question. Otherwise, it will just be a free fall
I
all the
know,
way.
I know. Duke, when do you feel the most connected to your essence?
When I'm connected with God, when I'm connected with God,
Hmm.
right? I think we have become very socialized that we most of us um, have wrongly placed or have misconstrued the place of God in our lives, right? On this subject of essence, it is important that we note that nothing has essence of itself, right? Nothing has essence of
Mm,
itself. The world was not designed with the principle of independence. Independence is a facade, right? Independence is a man-made construct, right, to bully the poor and the middle class. The world was designed with the principle of interdependence, right? Men were made to depend on spirit, and spirits were made to depend on men. Men designed machines so that they can depend on machines, and without the supervision of men, machines will cease to function, right? As individuals, we take in oxygen and we take out carbon dioxide, right? Plants take in carbon dioxide and then they exhale oxygen, right? So what should kill us, you know, what we are exhaling as waste becomes food for them, right? Becomes oxygen for them, and what they are exhaling as waste becomes oxygen for us. It shows that fundamentally the world was designed to operate in a state of interdependence. And so when I hear people say things like um, self discovery, right? It sounds novel in the ears, it sounds wonderful, but it's a calculated attempt to take the mind of man from dependency on God, who is source, and place on man himself, and position man as a self fulfilling individual who can create his outcomes, regulate his outcomes, and control his outcomes. But time and chance have proven to us that man is at the mercy of other men, right? As good as a will as you may have, if the government passes a law that marginalizes you this moment, right? This moment you become marginalized, not because you're a bad person, not because you're a good person, but because a principle that you are or a system that you are dependent on has passed a law that has now made you a victim, right? And so it's important that as people we understand that no man has essence of himself. And so where do we trace our essence back to? For me as an individual, especially because religiously and spiritually, my inclination is Christian, right? And so I draw my essence from the pages of scriptures. I draw my essence from God. And so I find myself come alive more, right? When I read the pages of scripture, when I'm retreating, when I'm praying, when I'm fasting, I have been able to curate my environment in a way that growth, influence, fame, none of these things truncate, right, my personal relationship with God, because this is where I come the most alive. This is where I feel, in my element, right? And so the way I prepare for every meeting, in short, even the way I accept invitations, it is as led, as led by God, So it's why you may find that somewhere occasionally I may filter in scriptures, here and there, not necessarily because I don't have anything to say to fill up that place, but it just naturally oozes out of me. That's where I find my essence. So that's where I come the most alive in. When I'm praying, I have that working active relationship with God. Take that away from me and I'll be a shadow of myself in a very few minutes.
mm, that's really interesting to know. Really, really interesting. The person we had last week, Elo Bands, also made the same comment. And
Mm,
it's refreshing to hear.
yeah.
Man was made to worship.
Yeah.
Um, so everything revolves around it. It revolves around the fact
Yeah.
that we were made for a reason by a being. For those who are Christians, for those who are religious, we are
Yeah.
made for that connection. And I so love that you said we are made for interdependence and not independence. Because at the end of the day, even
Yeah.
nature teaches us that we cannot exist on our own. Even the tiniest
Yeah.
insect, if bees should die, if bees should go extinct, I think it will not
Yeah.
take humans up to 30 years to be extinct.
Yeah.
Even as little as we think they are, those tiny insects, they have things that they are doing,
Yeah.
that sustain us. And then we also, in our own way,
Mm.
our waste products help them to remain
Yeah.
in existence. So we are
Yeah.
all
Mm.
interdepending on each other as species, as a people. So
Yeah.
just like you said, independence is a facade,
Yeah.
actually. Thank you so much for that. Like, I have to come back to this conversation and, stomach everything you have said. So the next question I have is, have you always been very attuned to your essence? Have you always known that, okay, this is who I am? This is These are my core elements. These are my building blocks. These are the building blocks of my being. Have you always known yourself? Have you always been very much aware of the essence of your being? If yes, I'd really love to know
Mhm.
how you grew up, because that will have played a big role. If the answer is no,
Yeah.
I'd really love to know
Well,
how you got to this point. Okay.
yeah. Well, I haven't always been aware, right? But I've always been audacious, right? I've always had a large appetite, when it has to do with life and my desires and all that. And I guess that um, helped in pointing me in a direction, right? It helped in pointing me in a direction. A scripture I love so much is it's a scripture from the book of Galatians 4, you know, and it says that the heir, right? The heir, as long as he remains a child, he's subject to teachers, right? Right. He's subject to teachers and tutoring and all of that, right? And I love that scripture because it shows you that nothing is finite, nothing is cast in stone, right? Everyone
Mm.
has to learn. You have to evolve. I said something in my post that I want to draw. I want to draw into this because this is a personal question, a more personal question than the other ones, and I would like to hit on a particular chord because of someone I perceive needs to hear this, right? I haven't always known it. Yeah, it hasn't always been there. Like, oh, hey, this is what it is. Yeah, but there has been precursors. There has been precursors that have pointed to the fact that, oh, this could be or this could be. One precursor is the fact that I talk a lot. Right, I like to talk a lot, so it's not by mistake that I'm here.
I agree.
So, I mean, when I was younger, when I was younger, I used to do what is called a personality audit, right? So I get my friends and I tell them to write without their names, just write on a piece of paper, change your handwriting or something, but write 5 things you like about me, and then write 5 things you hate about me, right? And then I'll collate the results, and then I'll read through them, and then it would form the basis for how I engage the next season of my life. Maybe it's a new term or I'm approaching a new class like SS1 or something. It would inform how I approach SS1 and all that. And I realized that one thing was consistent across everybody's like and dislike. It was something that came out from my mouth, right? What everybody liked about me was, oh, I just love the way. But if you trace it, it had to come from my mouth, right? And also, what everybody disliked about me was the fact that this guy, if this guy yab you, or this guy says or teases you or something, you're gone, you're finished, right? And so that was a pointer, an initial pointer that you have to begin to watch the things that come out of your mouth, because your mouth, is an instrument, is a tool that would serve your generation, that you would use to serve your generation, or is a tool that you'll be destroyed by. And that began to draw my interest towards communications, right? So I began to learn about communications. I began to learn about public perception. I began to learn about branding. I began to learn about public relations, and all of that. But you see, the seed that gave birth to all of this fruit was simply, there was no noisemaker in class that my name would not enter.
Of
Even when I'm
course.
the one writing the names, even when I'm the one writing the list of noisemakers, the teacher will say, Duke, write your name first. And
Okay.
it's not like my name will enter. You know those names that you see star, 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 five, star, five, and all that. I was in that category, right? And so all I had to do
Wow.
was not change the tool, but wield it differently, right? The same tool, the
Mm.
same, but just wield it differently. And so I began to learn how to communicate intelligently. I began to learn how to speak to people, how to engage. I used to be a very shy person. Shy is an understatement. I used to be a very timid person, right? And I would put off this strength, that too is a facade. It's, you know, and so I'll put this off to make it look like, so you can't see through me and know that I'm more on the inside, I'm dying, like I'm a very shy person and all that, But then
Yeah.
um I realized that at some point that my words were gaining more weight and were becoming more valuable to people. And so there was so little I could keep. Bible says that no man lights a candle and puts it under a bushel. There was so little I could hide in the corner of my room, right? Because just like the Samaritan woman, when you're a blessing to one person, they go into the entire city and then they announce it and everybody comes around and then you're like, what did I really say? And like, oh, so it got to a point I needed to own it, right? I needed to begin to look at the stage, look people in the eye, you know, and begin
Mm.
to express this thing in its totality. So it wasn't always there, maybe because of how audacious I am and how fluent I speak and how eloquent I am. People may tend to think, this one, he was born with it. Nah, I wasn't. At certain points I had teachers in school who believed in me. When you're shying away from attending debates classes or jets club, joining all of those things, but because you argue a lot, your teacher will call you, come here, go and enter that debates, Jets Club, Press Club, Jets Club. They're having what competition. Go and join. And I'll go and join, but I'll not say anything. Then they'll penalize me for not saying anything, push me to the front to go and say something. And then I'll go and say something and I'll argue not from the books. I'll argue just from the anger that you brought me to this place. And I'll win. And everybody will hail, and I'm wondering what is wrong with people. Why? What are people? What's wrong? What are people hailing me for? I just want to leave this place. I might go back to my house. Did you get?
Yeah.
So, but that's the bedrock. That was the bedrock of it, right? And one other important experience that happened. I used to in back in university. I was a part of a fellowship called Passion for Souls Fellowship, right, back in school days. And then our fellowship papa at the time, I used to sing. Many people don't know that part about me. I used to sing a lot. I still do anyways, but I mean, not not
Really?
publicly.
There's no
Oh
way I
yeah, I
could
used to.
have been able to guess.
I
Really?
sing a
That's
lot.
interesting.
I
Duke, you're
sing.
going to
I
sing for
sing
me
a
after
lot.
this session.
And I'll blow your mind away. I'll blow your. In short, if I sing for you after this session, the next session, you turn it to pre-conference music festival. We'll bring Moses Bliss and his new wife to come and join us.
Wahala.
So I sang a lot,
Okay. Yeah.
and because I sang so well, I always had this, oh, you're going to be the next Kirk Franklin, you'll be the next Tim Godfrey, da 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 da. In short, my exposure to public speaking and to the public did not start as a speaker. It actually started as a musician. I'll be invited
Oh,
to events to
interesting.
come and I'll be invited to events to come and sing. You know, it if you're paying attention closely, you realize that that value still came out from my mouth. right? It still came out from my mouth.
Yes.
Singing, I had to use my mouth to do that, you know. But then my fellowship papa, as you know, at the time, as we called the leaders in fellowship, one day would turn to me and say to me, Duke, talent is not destiny, right? And it never made sense to me. It never made sense to
Mm,
me. Like, talent is not destiny. So one of the things he did, because he actually set me on the path to discovery, right? He set me on that path, and then he stopped me. The first things he did was that he stopped me from singing, even if the choristers were not in the chapel and the head of the choir was not around. He would rather give that microphone to an usher or to some other person to sing than give it to me, right? So the father,
wow.
the father I stayed away from holding the microphone to sing, the more I honed my skill in speaking, right? Because he would always give me the microphone to speak, to
Mm,
give announcements, to welcome first timers, and all of that. So the more I spoke, the more I honed that skill, and then I got better at it, and I realized, damn, I'm good at this thing. And then people could pay me for this thing. I started getting invitations here and there, and then people were paying for flight tickets, paying bus fares, just to get me to speak. And I mean, so it hasn't been a thing that I knew from the beginning, right? But there has been pointers, like I just mentioned, I was the loudest noisemaker in class. That was a pointer. When if I yab you, you're gone. Just forget it. That was a pointer. That's why I avoid Twitter. I avoid Twitter. Twitter, if I join that network, it will not be good for everybody because the buzz boost that happen there,
please don't.
the buzz
Please.
boost that happen in that place.
It's not going to
I
be
go there
funny.
and then I go there and then Twitter is calling me. It's calling me, and I'm like, no, no,
Hey
I'll,
God,
I'll
don't answer that call, please. Thank you, sir.
so, so these were all pointers. These were all
Wow,
pointers. I mean, yeah. And then eventually we got there and they were like, okay, so
that's
this is
really
this. And then,
interesting.
yeah.
Mm,
Man,
wow.
I hope they're
Are
getting
you
value.
enjoying this
And I hope
conversation?
yeah.
Yes, yes, they are
Let me
getting
say,
value. Someone says it's her first time here, and so much value she has gotten.
oh,
I mean, you cannot
oh,
listen to
yo,
Duke and you can't get value. Even when he's just yapping, you're getting value from his yaps too. So at this point, if you are enjoying this conversation
Mhm.
and you've not invited your village people, you are not doing well. You're not doing well. They all need to know to discover their essence. They all need to come to the full realization
Mm.
of their essence so that they will leave you alone. Yeah? So that everybody will be happy in this life. Your enemies, your exes, your excesses. Go and invite everybody. If you're on YouTube, copy the link, and share with your friends and everybody that you want them to be here. If you're on Facebook, the least you can do is to tag your friends to this conversation. All right. Let them come and gain the insights, hear the stories, hear the words that can change their lives. We're not teaching you how to discover your essence here. That will be done during the live set, during the physical session, physical conference. But here we are sharing stories of people who have discovered their essence, how they got on this journey. I strongly believe in the power of stories. That's why I love biographies a lot. I love it because it helps me to see people's journeys, how they got to where they are, not just getting myself acquainted with the glory and not the story. So at this
Mm.
point, I have to let you know that the Essence Conference 2024, the physical edition, is coming live in Lagos on the 1st of June 2024. On the 1st of June 2024, I'm excited. Like, I am so excited that it is happening. And I'm just going to give you the opportunity to um, get to know the tickets that we have. Ticket sales have begun. So if you'd like to be a part of it, this is your chance to do so. So we have the basic ticket, which is the premium ticket. The lowest ticket here is 15,000 naira. But the early bird discount is 10,000 naira. Okay, just for 10,000 naira, you get access to the event. What are you going to get? Full access to all conference sessions and keynote presentations in person, networking opportunities, free conference materials, a free copy of Dear Young One. The second edition will be given to you too. So what I didn't share online yet is that I'll be launching the second edition of my book, Dear Young One, during the conference. So you get access to the second edition of my book, and
Okay, guys, are you there? Is it just me? I think we've lost Chinaza's audio. Okay, guys, are you there? Is it just me? I think we've lost Chinaza's audio. Okay, guys, are you there? Is it just me? Okay, kindly confirm if you guys are here though. Um, okay, Kemi is here. Okay, I think Naza is back. Okay, hi Naza, are you there? Um, okay, I'm not sure we can hear you, Naza. No, we can't hear you. Okay, so while I'm in the driver's seat for now, I guess we'll just keep the conversation flowing, right? Kindly confirm you can still hear me and we are still in the conversation, and I would set the ball rolling till Nazar joins us back again. And of course, if you have any questions, right? If you have any questions, you can put them in the comments. I will be looking at them and then providing answers to them, right? The conversation on essence is really critical. There's so much marginalization that one would experience if you are unable to come in tune, right? If you're unable to come in tune with the unique deposits, I like to call them that, the unique deposit that God has placed inside of you. And I believe that the conversations that Naza is curating ahead of the main event is essential for everyone, irrespective of where you are, on your growth journey, right? Okay, so Naza is back. Okay, Naza, we good? Oh my, we're still having issues with your audio. We're still having issues with your audio. Oh, thank you, Felix. Awesome comment there. Um, nope, nope. These village people, this is what Daddy Joe calls third world demons. They just sat down and decided that it's now that they want to fly. It's third world demons. Prayer warriors in the comment section, begin to cast and bind. Begin to cast and bind every demon holding Nazar's mic. Every power, begin to bring them down. Oh my. No, we can't get your audio. Oh, is it just me? Can other people hear Nazar? Because let's be sure that the village people are not fighting on my side. Guys, please let us know in the comments. Can you guys hear Nazar? Oh my. Okay, you can hear me as per Duke. Can you hear Nazar? Just, I mean, let us know. Oh yeah, so you can't hear her, but they can hear me. See. Okay, so I guess we'll just keep the conversation rolling. We'll keep the conversation rolling until we can we'll keep the conversation rolling until we can get Nazar back on track, right? Um, so I guess what who can remind me of what we said last? I was talking about essence. I was talking about how you need to be able to translate essence to essentials, right? That you have essence does not directly or indirectly, imply that you would become essential, right? Everybody has essence. The madman on the street has essence. There is something about that person that makes that person relevant in time, right? Either to God or to the devil, right? Or to the multiple forces that keep the universe, in a state of balance, right? But if that person was without essence, they would be irrelevant in this side of the divide, and then of course they would have to be taken away, right? So if you find a universe, right, that if put under the right environment can still be distilled out. So glamorizing essence, right, would not be a very justifiable thing to do, because that a person has essence does not in any way directly or indirectly mean that that person will become essential. So we have to curate or build the conversation towards translating essence into essentials. All right. And then when you get to this point, oh, let me give you a very common example. Even with what I'm doing now, speaking, right? Someone could have oratory skills, that essence, that is something that is value, that intrinsic value, right? But delivering that skill profitably as a public speaker is what makes the person essential, right? That's what makes people look out for that person. You know, is your essence able to do, or what are you able to do with this thing you call essence? It's not enough to say you have a skill, you can do this, you can do that. You know, what, right? Thing that you compare yourself. One of the things, skill. Oh my, are we good? Are we still in the room? Oh my, room. The network is good on my end. Let me know. Let's take this away. So this yeses, does it mean you can still hear me? Because I think I broke up for a bit. Um, okay, so I see a question here, and I'm going to quickly attack the question, but I'm confused if you can hear me and if I'm speaking in the. You spoke about branding, present, like the way, right? And then it also fit for what you like doing, right? Branding in itself is, I like to say that branding in itself doesn't mediate advantage with respect to R&D. You haven't done anything, right? So I think you would want to be more explicit that you're Yeah, we're back. Yeah. So village people are working overtime. I don't know who's village people, but I'm very sure it's not mine, right? Before the line broke the last time, I was talking about I think I was responding to Kemi's question, about branding and all that. So a lot of factors have to be put in place first before we start discussing branding, and then um, you would want to be able to identify would need to be able to know what product you're creating, and then identify if there's a good market fit for it. So um, yeah, there's a lot of things that have to be talked about there. That you can brand the product does not automatically translate to the profitability of that product. That's all I'm trying to say, right? Chidima says, I can't hear any of you. Is that true for everyone, right? Because I'm seeing I think the subtitles on the screen. So for that to come up, then I suspect that my audio should be out there. But kindly let me know if you guys can hear me. You know, kindly let me know if you can hear me. Anybody? Oh my, are you guys still there? Because I don't have any feedback on my screen since I'm guest. Okay, I'm not sure about this. Um, okay. Great, 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 great. Thank you. So I'm not getting the feedback here, but I'm seeing that on the screen. So thank you guys. Thank you. Okay, so running through this conversation again, whoever village person is working this thing will have to find that person in this class and then flog the person. Anyway, that's just on the lighter notes, right? So we're building conversations around the subject of essence. Oh, there you are. She's back and she has run away again. Let me see.
Duke, can you hear me? Your mic is muted.
Wahala, wahala. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
So all the while I've been talking to myself.
Yes, I have.
Blood of Jesus. Village people are fighting. Village people are fighting. But the word of God must be preached tonight. This mega crusade, they want to spoil it. Glad to have you back, Naza. Glad to have you back.
Okay, so I had to join in with my phone so that at least you can see me and you can hear me. That is most important. So I don't know if you can help us to project louder so that I can hear you from where I am. Yeah.
You mean me? I can hear you.
Okay, but can every other person hear me? If you can hear me, please let me know. Say you can hear Chinaza Favor, please. Don't tell me no, please.
No, we can hear you now. We can hear you now.
I can't see their
I mean,
comments. I'm so sorry about this. Technology can be quite funny sometimes. Okay, Favor can hear me. Jenny Johnson can hear me. Abu Juliet can hear me. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. That is such a relief. Thank you so much, Duke. I'm sorry for putting you on the spot. Thanks for holding the fort. That rhymed so well. Tina, you can write.
oh no, it's fine.
You can start writing songs like this. Okay.
As I used to write songs. Oh, I listen. Let me cast you on this. Let me cast you on this podcast now. I listened to one song you wrote. I listened to one song you wrote. Everybody go to Chinaza's YouTube. There's a song that Chinaza wrote, and it's so lovely. Chinaza used to be a singer-songwriter. You give us the gist of how you translated from a singer-songwriter to what you're doing right now.
Dude, you're not doing this to me now.
Guys, go to Chinaza's YouTube. That song is still there.
Whatever. It was done in 2018.
Right?
Yes. If you go, you're welcome. You're welcome. Anyway, where were we before you stopped being able to hear me? I think I was just about to start talking about the physical conference, right? Before you guys stopped hearing me. So I'll just run through it quickly before we continue. So, ladies and gentlemen, the Essence Conference 2024 is coming your way live in Lagos on the 1st of June 2024. And I am super excited because the people that we are bringing on, you can imagine the kind of value you are getting here on the pre-conference series. Imagine now what we are bringing for you physically in Lagos. You're not ready. Trust me, you're not ready. We are bringing industry leaders to share with you insights, practical tools, and strategies that will enable you to tap into your essence, tap into your core, and fully manifest your essence. See, if you are not living in your essence, you have no reason to be here. Like, you have no reason to even breathe because you breathe to to express the glory of God in your life, if I have to put it that way. And that glory of God in your life is your essence. When we say, oh, your aura, your energy, this and that, all of those are what make up your essence. And if you are not, if you have to talk before people can, identify your worth, you're not, your essence is not loud enough, Without you saying anything, you should be able to step into a room and people turn, who is this person? Because of how fully you embody your essence. So, if you are in Lagos, you don't have to miss this for anything. Again, I was going to talk about the tickets. We have just 2 tickets for this conference. We have a flat ticket of 10,000 naira. That is for the early bird discount. It is 15,000 naira. But for the early bird discount, you are getting 10,000 naira. Okay, look at what you'll be getting: full access to all conference sessions and keynote presentations in person, networking opportunities, free conference materials, a free copy of Dear Young Ones. So you know that I'm working on the second edition of my book. In fact, we are done working on it. We are just going to start printing. And what I have not put out to the public is that I will be launching the book on that day. So you'll be getting a free copy for registering, for being a part of it. And you'll be getting access to event recordings. Isn't that amazing? That is for 10,000 naira if you pay between now and 1st of May. Okay, after 1st of May, you'll be paying 15,000 naira for it. Now you get to pay just 10,000 naira. Now we have the gold ticket, which I love this one. This one makes my heart tingle. The gold ticket, you get everything in the premium ticket, but here is the juice. You get priority seating at the event, but the most important part of this ticket is that you gain exclusive access to the Essence Bootcamp that I'll be hosting with Mr. Gochukwu Omogu. If you know Mr. Gochukwu, you know that you are going to be baptized and rebaptized and rebaptized again with value during the bootcamp. So the Essence Conference is a conference where you get to learn from industry leaders, But the bootcamp is where I will be holding you by the hand and sharing with you all the tools I know that will help you to discover. Like, during the bootcamp, you will have practical sessions, hands-on sessions that will help you to unlock your potential, unlock your essence, so that you can start to manifest it. Because it is one thing to discover your essence, it is another thing to embrace the essence. And it is even a higher level of existence to manifest that essence, to have the courage to manifest that essence without fear, without shame, without looking for validation from people. Because the truth is, when you learn who you are and you are fully embodying that, people will have to gravitate towards you. They might say a sort of things about you when you start, but when they see how authentically and how unapologetically you embody your essence, they'll have no other option but to gravitate towards you. How much are you getting this? It is 50,000 naira for the boot camp, all right? But if you pay between now and 1st of May, you will be getting it for 45,000 naira only with Miss Ugochukwu Omogo. Oh my God, it is going to be a full day of value that when you get back home, you'll be like, what just happened to me? It will be a reinvention and a reintroduction for you. So I'm excited if you're going to be doing this. And we have the group tickets. The group tickets. Why go alone when you can go with friends now and still get a wolf on top? So if you are up to a group of 5, you can pay, you know, you're going to get 10% off the total registration fee for your group. All right. It doesn't matter whether you're all going for the premium ticket or for the gold ticket. Whatever is your total registration fee, you're going to get 10% off. All right. So to get this premium, this group ticket, just send the message to the number on your screen, 080. Where is it again? 080 39515505. I'm going to be sharing the detail with you. All right. So all the packages here, you have the 15,000 naira, 15,000 naira, and 10,000 and 10% off all the packages. If you pay between now and 1st of May, so you're not going to pay 15,000 naira, you're going to pay 10,000 naira and 45,000 naira, if that is what you will be for any of the tickets that you're going for. Okay, and to register, just send your proof of payment to this number on your screen. All right, send your proof of payment to this number on your screen. Let me take this out. Okay, this number on your screen. There, is that it? No, that is not it. 1 minute, please. Just 1 second. Okay, so you send. I'm so sorry about that. I think I mixed up some details there. Give me 1 minute, please. Okay. So this is the account number to send to. We're still working on the website, so you're going to be able to make transfers directly. Okay. I know that Nigerians will like transfers a lot. We are yet to trust online platforms. If you are told to input your card details, be like, they are going to trick you into what? But don't worry, I got you covered. You can pay into this account detail. Please confirm the name on the account before you send money to another people. And then you go online and start calling us spam and scam. I paid and they did not allow me. I paid and they did not accept my payment. They said that I did not pay them. Meanwhile, it sends to a different account. So please confirm the name on the account before you pay. Okay? All right. Okay, so this is it. Pay into these details, transfer your registration, your ticket fee into this, and send your proof of payment to 080 39 51 5505. Okay, that is it. 0039515505. All right, let us get on with the conversation. We are already a few minutes into closing, but I'm going to finish asking the few questions that I have for Mr. Duke because I'm not letting him go. I am not letting him go. I will never let you go unless you bless me. Oh my goodness. All right, Mr. Duke, let us continue. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for sticking with me. Um, so I believe that in everything that we do, Mr. Duke, there is a prize and there's a reward, right? Every decision that we make has benefits that are attached to it. And of course, if they are negative decisions, there are prices to be paid, consequences. So I saw it, my lecturer during one of the courses that we took last semester. She was like, when you say, okay, I'm not going to do anything. When you choose not to do anything, it's still a decision. Choosing doing something and not doing something, they are both decisions that you're making. And sometimes not doing something can cost you something that you will wish you had decided to do so that you can avoid that consequence. So what do you think is the price of authenticity, and what is the reward of authenticity? By that I mean, when you choose to be authentic, what is the benefit? And when you choose to be inauthentic or not be authentic, what is the price? What are the consequences of not being authentic?
Okay, I think the simplest response to that is that when you choose to be authentic, you stand out, right? You stand out from the crowd. We live in a world where everybody's embracing commonality, right? Everybody's striving to be the same, right? And so the world places a premium. The world places a premium on anyone who can dare to be different, right? If you remember, and one of the things that happens when you can dare to be different is that you are now bequeathed with the opportunity or with the ability to be able to make demands from the world, right? You can now make demands from the world. You can now, set your own standards and your own prices on anything, whether it's your time, whether it's your assets, your resources, whatever it is, right? Because you have you have paid the price of authenticity, right? That's how you called it. You've paid the price of authenticity, and then you have been able to separate yourself from the pack, right? A story I like to use to adumbrate or to express this is the story of David, right, in the Bible. You know, the Philistines went to war with the Israelites, right? And before the war, the Philistines had developed a technology that they realized that the Israelites did not have, right? The Israelites were strong in battle, right? There was no army that could outdo the Israelites in battle. However, they did not have combatants, people who could stand one-on-one combat, right? The Philistines had understood that the army of the Israelites had this loophole, and so they began to train for combat, right? They began to train for combat, and that's how they brought Goliath in to the war, who was a combatant from his youth. He was training the art of one-on-one, fights. And so the reason why that was just the reason why the Philistines were able to hold, the Israelites hostage for 40 days and 40 nights, because they had switched the battle from the nature of the war from battle to combat. You know, you see, for a person like David had at some point, and this is a lesson for someone who probably is going through a dark phase and feels marginalized and all that, because it was in that dark season that David had built the skill for combat, right? When he fought a lion, he fought a bear, and he was able to conquer the lion and the bear in one-on-one combat in the dark of the day, in the privacy of himself and just his sheep, right? But so when he came to the battlefield to give his brothers food, he would realize that the nature of battle here is very similar to the nature of battle in the bush that I have been in, right? And so You see, because in the bush, in his privacy, in his secrecy, he had paid the price of authenticity. Imagine that David did not kill that lion because there was no pressure on him. There was nobody supervising him. He could have simply just run back to his father and said, "Oh, Dad, you see, I was just in the bush and then a lion came and took the sheep." And it's an understandable reason, right? No father would beat his son for allowing a lion take a sheep, right? He would have said the same thing for a bear, right? But in that thick darkness, he paid that price, right? In doing so, he had honed a skill that would be relevant in a shorter than realized time. So when he got to the battlefield to give his brothers food, what happened? He realized that, this looks very similar to what I have been doing in the bush. Listen, that's what I did for you. That was they keeping up for you since 40 days. No, give me. And remember what I said, when you pay the price of authenticity, it bequeaths you with the ability to set your price, right? To make demands from life. So in the bush, when David killed the lion, there was no reward for it. But you see, when he came to the battlefield, the standards had elevated, right? The stakes were higher. So he could ask, hold up, right? If I kill this guy now, which one will give me? Do you see that? What would you guys give me if I kill this guy? Because I know I can do this thing, right? So what would you guys give me if I kill this guy? Then, oh, we'll do this, we'll make you king, and they'll even give you the king's daughter to marry. Just to kill this guy. Give me stone. Give me stone, give me stone, give me stone. you know. But and so he goes on, kills Goliath, right? Eventually becomes king, marries the king's daughter, right? But what people fail to realize is that the process, right, that equipped him with the ability to kill Goliath did not happen on the battlefield, right? Did not happen on the battlefield. It happened in. So if you understand this, you will not play with your dark seasons. You won't play with those days when you have depression. You won't play with those days when you doubt yourself. You won't play with those days when everybody talks down on you and everybody makes you feel less of yourself. You will not jeopardize those days because those are the days where God is bringing you into tune with yourself. I wrote a post in promoting this event today, and I spoke about a case in Isaiah 6, where the Bible speaks about Isaiah in 6 verses 1. In the year that King Uzziah died, I saw the Lord, and blah 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 blah. Most of these prophetic churches, they have an interpretation of that scripture. Every King Uzziah died. I mean, but there are depths, there are other depths to that scripture, right? One of it is that when King Uzziah died, the first thing that happened was that Isaiah had an upward revelation. He could now see God, right? He could now understand, he could now connect to the source of essence, right? When he connected with the source of essence, the next thing that happened was that he could now see himself. Because if you read down to verses 7 or thereabout, scripture says that for woe is me, for I am a man of unclean lips. This is something he did not know prior to this time. He just got to find out now because he had an upward revelation. Now he had an inward revelation. By virtue of this inward revelation that he now had, right, you could now see in, I think, verses 9 thereabout. I'm sorry, this is turning into a Bible study session, guys. I'm sorry, but I can't help it. In verses 9 and 10 thereabout, you'd find out that he would now avail himself for a much more global assignment, right? He would now begin to see the world for what it is. We have people who are attempting to impact the generation, who are attempting to impact their world, but jumping the hoops, right? They do not even have an inward revelation of themselves. They do not have an upward revelation of the source to whom they are connected with, whatever it is, right? Like I said, for me, it's God, right? They don't have that understanding and that bond of connectivity. They do not have that distinguishing factor through inward revelation that, when you read the story of Jesus, you'd see in the book of Hebrews, he said, for he came in the volume of the book it is written of him, meaning that there is a measure, there is a confine, there is a provision for how this guy should. Everything from how he was born, typifies the fact that his life is modularized, right? There is a way he should operate. There's a way he should not operate. And if he steps out of those ways, he will step out of his manifestation. He will step out of his breakthrough. He will step out of a whole lot of things, And if you realize how he came into that way, it happened in the wilderness, right? It happened in the wilderness after the announcement that Jordan, and the Bible say that, and the Holy Spirit led him to the wilderness to be tempted of the devil, right? And in those period, the devil came, searched him out with food, right? Searched him out with glory, searched him out with honor and all of that. Your trying seasons, your dark seasons are very cardinal to your glory seasons, right? Most times when we're in our dark seasons, we complain, we cry, and so I tell people who are around me, it's something that those who are around me will be very familiar with, and I like to say this: you make sure that you never let the experience of a process rob you of the education of that process, right? The experience is always overwhelming, it's always painful, it's always, but with that experience comes an education, right? If you can quiet your soul and distill the noise of the experience, it's painful and pain is overwhelming. You would find that underneath that first layer of pain, there is something it's teaching you, there is something it's equipping you. You will need that education when you're at the battlefield with Goliath. You would need that education. You may not need the experience. What we do is that we glamorize the experience, we vilify ourselves, we antagonize and crucify, whoever caused the experience, especially if it was externally motivated, right? And then before we begin to talk down on ourselves and all of that. What you're doing is that you're diminishing that essence, because essence is like, it's like a life. It essence is life. Like, I can't even say it's like life, it's life, right? So the more you give to it, the more it grows. The more you talk down on it, the more it diminishes, right? So that's why we have stuff like positive affirmations. Wake up every day and you tell yourself, oh man, I don't know what's in the worry me. You will get to a day you will not know what is worrying you, right? But you wake up every day and you speak to yourself, your inner man. Your inner man has ears, he can hear, right? She also can hear, and all of that. So you have to come to that point where you do not crucify or you do not downplay the negative experiences of your life. Physics teaches us that for you to have light, you need to have positive and negative charge coming together. If you have positive and positive, you won't have light. If you have negative and negative, you won't have light. It has to be positive and negative coming together for you to produce light. Positive charges and negative charges coming together for you to produce light, right? We live in a generation where we downplay negative environment, negative experiences simply because they are not nice, right? Because they're not nice and all of that. And we miss out on the education of that process. If you can do this one thing I have said, you would have set yourself apart from 50% of your contemporaries. And most definitely is the fact that, you would have to travel for lesser time than the average person who is there beating against the air and boxing and hating himself and is depressed. Will you feel bad? Yes. Is there a tendency you feel depressed because you're human? Yes, that will happen. But if you can quiet the noise in your soul and look through the events, go through it again. What is there to learn here? Yeah, I know he duped me. I know he took my money, but then what? It's not men has come. That's still part of the first layer. Yeah, because he duped you, because he did this, all men has come. That's not the education, right? That's not the education. And sometimes the education may not necessarily be for you, right? For some, I know many people whose pain have become their breakthrough. The reason is not because they went through pain, because now what happens next is that the next person that goes through that same type of pain now begins to advertise that same pain, thinking that the pain will also become her own or his own breakthrough, not realizing that it is not a ground norm for everybody. The reason why this person's pain became his or her breakthrough was because the person understood the underlying education behind that pain, right? Understood the motivation, understood the direction, understood all of the factors that came together to constitute that pain. And beyond that, understood the blueprint or had downloaded the blueprint for overcoming that pain, right? By doing so, the universe now confers on that person an authority like a scepter. It now, and that becomes a message. So when you hear that person speak on that, it's just like when you hear Sarah Jake Roberts speak, right? Something will happen to you. Like when you hear her speak, something will happen to you. But the average person who has The average person who has had the same experience and says, after all, me and Sarah were age mates, let me go and follow and say the same thing. Nah, it will not happen. It will happen. So, I mean, I can't, I promise you, I don't even know what question I'm answering right now. I'm just, you just carry me to go, I don't know.
I
So,
mean,
yeah.
that's very typical of you. Very typical of you. You ask him one question like this. The time it's almost like asking Duke a question. Let me tell you guys, asking Duke a question is like you are outside the entry of a cave and you now ask him the question. He'll now hold you by the hand like this and start entering the cave. You're supposed to stop at the beginning of the cave, but no, you cannot stop there. He will continue taking you inside the cave. Like the more he talks, the deeper he takes you into that topic, and you think, I didn't even know that this topic could be this deep. You know, that is the depth of his insights, and it's such a pleasure to have him on board, sharing all of this with us. I love the balance. You know, James
Yeah.
Ambode. James already said this. Um, you brought real balance to it, the positive and negative charges. Um, I mean, when you make a negative decision, you expect consequences, of course. You die like you were never here. That is one of the major consequences of not tuning into your essence.
Yeah.
That dash that we have between your birthday and your death day will be very
Death
vacant.
day, yeah.
No, but there'll be no record of you being here. Only those who gave birth to you, and maybe those who you will give birth to.
I mean, there's something to say about this, right? You know, the oldest man to ever live, Methuselah, right? His entire life was summarized in one sentence in the Bible.
Yes, and he was the longest man to live.
But his life was summarized in just one sentence because there was no essence to it, right? We don't even know anything about him. Methuselah lived for 969 days and he died. That's all.
That's it.
That's all. Meanwhile, Jesus lived for 33 years. And till date, we're still distilling from that life, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, when people understand this and they can effectively deconstruct the subject of essence, you realize that a well-lived life is more important than a long-lived life, right? And you would cease to glamorize living for so long, when the accumulated, the aggregation of the impact that you will make in that space of time is completely infinitesimal, right? You will be lost in time, you'll be forgotten, there's no legacy, there's no name behind you, right? But then someone else just comes and is on the scene and is around for just 30 years, 40 years, but he shakes this world in no mean way that even after he's dead, the government has to immortalize him, right? The government has to immortalize him. Songs are written in his name, books are written in his name. His name goes into the books of history, right? And you wake up one day and you hear, who is this person, right? And so yeah, I just have to chip that in as a supportive argument for what you were saying.
Thank you so much for that. I have a few other questions to ask you, but time is already fast spent. Duke, I'd really love to know, when it's all been said and done, yeah? So I'm going to reward this question. What I have here is, what legacy do you hope to leave behind as a result of living true to your essence? But I want to reward it. When you are gray, it's all been said and done. What do you want to look back on and be proud of as a result of the life that you have lived?
That I left a name for my children.
That you?
That I left a name for my children. Yeah. See, names are not given for taxonomy alone, right? For classification also. Duke is to separate Duke from Rita. No. Names are keys. Names are keys to locks. Names are gates, right? Names are very, very powerful, right? It's so important that um, the most important thing that God gave Jesus after everything, right, was a name. And many people don't
Yes.
understand this, that the authority that you have in Jesus is not in grant, is in the fact that you understand the workings of that name. The Bible says that um and God had given him a name that is above every other name. That at that name, it is that name that confers authority over demon spirits and all of that, you know. And you realize that even when he was born, there was specific emphasis on his name, right? You would give birth to his son and you would call him so, 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 and so because of so, 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 and so. There was strong emphasis given to his name. You know, I think that many of us don't understand this, and that's why we even look. My name is not Duke, right? My name is Peter, but many people don't know if I don't say it, right? My surname is Duke, but when I understood this, I had to rework my name, right? And have Duke. Duke signifies regality, royalty, right? Duke signifies nobility, right? And so Peter is my first name. And I'm like, when you say Peter Duke, what does it mean? What's the meaning behind that name? Nah, it doesn't mean anything. But when you say Duke Peter, it sends something my way. Even if I wanted to be foolish, the very fact that you called me a Duke, it just went. Come on, calm down. Organize yourself. Dukes don't behave this way, right? Dukes don't, there's something it does. And so I want to be able to bequeath something to a name to my kids. If you walk into a place and you hear someone say, my name is whatever Tinubu, something tingles in your mind automatically. Something just, the name Obama is so rare. So if you meet someone and person introduces herself and says, oh, my name is Victoria Obama, right? Even if she's not related to the actual Obama that we know, there is a propensity and a tendency for you to be kind towards the person or to angulate in a certain way towards the person before until you find out that the person is not related. And if the person is smart enough, the person can bask in the euphoria that that name brings and open doors for himself or herself, only for you to find out later, no be Obama, na Obama where they do mayonnaise. Na Uzodinma Obama. Na be this one, no. Right. So at the end of the day, I want to be able to leave a name with my kids, a name that opens doors for them. I mean, many people did not know Herbert Wigwe, the late Herbert Wigwe, when he was alive. But when he died, his name rang a bell, right? His name, his legacy. So his name has become his legacy, right? If that's the right way to put it. His name has become his legacy. And so I would want to do something like that too. I would want to leave that behind, a name, right? So when you say Duke, there's a meaning that comes to it. And you can say, is it the Duke, right? It may sound, I don't know, this may not sound, it may
It does
sound
not
somehow
sound
though, but
genuine. It does not sound genuine. That is why we're having these conversations, right? Because I really crave the unique perspective of every speaker, the unique
yeah,
desires of every speaker. Thank you so much for that. I love the fact that you said that names are gates, names are
yeah,
locks. You know. I also I also have that desire to leave a name that
mm,
my children and their generation, will live off of. Even till now, Rockefeller, is still a name
yeah,
that
mm,
that is powerful. You know,
hmm,
Washington, still a name that is powerful.
yeah,
So, what are
yeah,
you intending to leave as a legacy?
yeah,
Thank you so much for that. So, I started a particular tradition. I learned this from Stephen Bartlett,
mm,
the the host of Diary of a CEO. Do you know him? The
yeah,
podcast.
mm,
Yes, I watch his podcasts a lot. So there's something he does that I learned that I want to start doing it here. So I asked the last guest to leave a question for the next guest without knowing who the person is going to be. And she left a question for you. So
Interesting.
the question is, what is that one event that changed everything for you?
Oh wow, the number
So
of events.
by event, I don't mean maybe a happening or an incident. What is that event, a gathering, a conference, that
Mm.
you can point to and say, okay, given where I am, I think this can be pointed to as the beginning of, a transformative experience for me.
Hmm. That may be difficult. That may be difficult, but I think if I would attribute an aspect of my growth to an event, then it would most definitely be the night school. Night school is going to be it was most definitely be night school, But there was a story I promised to tell when I wrote about this, and this question just triggered that story. It fell right in place, right? So I know that this is not what you're asking, but because it falls right in place, I feel that someone would need this response, and maybe that's why, even though I had forgotten and I really didn't have a place to tell the story in the course of our conversation, once you made mention of this, it kicked in. An event that triggered things for me, like the last 4 years, um very crazy years, very dark seasons of my life, right? So some of the things I'm telling you, I'm not saying it from, it's not philosophical wisdom, it's experiential wisdom, right? I had to go through it. I had to come out, and all that. So right now I'm even darker because I'm like, Suya, I went through the heat of the season and all that, but then we're good, right? um but one thing happened that jolted me back to reality, right? At some point, I was working for a logistic company, and I mean the best of the best. Believe me, we had to we're assigned to work with VVIPs. I mean billionaires, multimillionaires in dollars, and all of that. These are private jet owners, chopper owners. I mean, anybody would do anything to be in that circle, and I was privileged to be in that circle. Working with these guys and attending to them. Just make sure that their lives were better off because you're there, you're being paid, and it was nice. But the turning point moment, or the turning point moment for me, was guys, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Welcome back. Please don't mind the noise in the background. I live beside the mosque, so the
Oh yeah,
noise
that's fine.
can
But
get
I
to
just wanted to be sure you can hear me.
you. We can hear you,
Okay,
yes.
beautiful. Okay. So what was I saying? So we have this event here, and then at the end of the event, we're supposed to help these VVIPs, load up on their private jets and their choppers and everything, and then we go into the vehicle, we go to the choppers, and then you know of course you're serving, you're like a PA, you're an assistant to the VVIP himself, but then he has his family with him, he has his kids and all of that. And so I was helping this man load him up on the chopper, you know, and then his maybe 12 or 14-year-old son, would holler at me and be like, "Hey, you, come here, get my bags and load them up on the chopper." This boy didn't grow up abroad, he grew up here. I felt like knocking this boy. I felt like I felt like squeezing the boy. It's like it's me. You're calling, "Hey, you come here, get this bag and load it on the chopper." But you see, I was saddled by responsibility to obey him to get that done, right? And I did that. And in the process of taking that bag from the SUV to the chopper, I heard in my spirit, I found an error under the sun, that princes walk on foot and servants are on horsebacks, right? Now, this is the lesson behind that. It's a very honorable job, right? And immediately afterwards, I resigned, right? I called my boss and I said to him, I want a stake at the table, and I'm as audacious as that. I told him, I love this job, wonderful. I get wonderful pay. I get to work. I get to sit in circles with these guys, but nah, you're coming into this room as a servant, so you would always be perceived as less, right? Your worth, your essence will not be the elements that that attracts you to them or that connects you. They won't, no, they won't do that. I need to be able to enter this room differently. And I sat with my boss in his hotel and I told him that if I can't get an administrative role that puts me in the position where I can manage things and control outcomes, then I would beg to take my leave. And my boss said to me, Duke, you're the most audacious person that has come to this place. Nobody has ever said this. And I'm training people and hoping that can have people who can talk like, but people just get carried away by the paycheck, and then they would. Even when I was doing that, I knew these guys were very highly pleased, but I wouldn't allow you talk to me in certain kinds of ways, simply because, I mean, what's wrong with you, right? And so when this boy did that, I mean, he was in his right. And I was, carrying out the function for his dad. And of course, if I'm serving his dad, it's expected that I should also respond to him. But hey, you, so get my bags, and then load them up in the chopper real quick, real quick. And I'm like, this is what this one. You know what, B? The age between me and you, I forborn you too. Right? But then that was the moment for me. I was like, nah, you're getting paid rightly. And let me go back to my David story and I'll tell you, and it'll make more sense to some people here, right? David was in the bush. He killed a lion, he killed a bear, but nobody heard about it. Nobody rewarded him, right? Because he was making impact in the wrong place, right? The element, what the most integral factor is not that you're making impact. The environment in which you're making impact is critical to your announcement, to your manifestation, to your growth, to your glory, to everything, right? So David was in the market, was in the bush. He killed a lion. That was a phenomenal feat, but nobody heard about it. No crown, no glory, no wife, no nothing. He was in the bush. He killed a bear. No crown, no glory, no nothing. But he came to the battlefield, right? And he killed Goliath. Only one person. And do you remember what the women said? The women said that Saul has killed 1,000. David has killed 10,000. Because in the right place, the same effort has exponential effect, right? The same effort, right? So some of you, you're here, you're working so hard. It could be in a relationship, it could be on a job, it could be anything. Extrapolate this data into whatever it is. Put in 1/10 of that same effort in the right place, right? Your generation will sing that you have killed 10,000 people. Saul, unfortunately, even though he was in the battlefield, but for him, the battlefield was the wrong place, right? Because if you remember, Saul was not God's choice for the people. It is the people that demanded that they didn't want God to lead them again. So they wanted it. And so God was like, okay, no, Allah, since you want a king, take there. So he wasn't God's choice, right? So Saul was in the wrong place, but David was in the right place. Killing one man was the equivalent of killing 10,000 people. And that's how he had a crown, right? And so that's why you see some people, they've toiled and toiled and toiled, and then they just do one thing for one person or get one recommendation or one referral, and then all of a sudden the heavens break loose, and then all of that. It's not rocket science. It's that time and chance aligned, and they were now able to do the right thing that they've always been doing in the bush, but now in the battlefield, right? And so that's why I had to leave that job. And when I left that job, it was painful. Some people looked at me like, what's wrong with this guy? Is this guy mad? But yeah, I'm not mad. I've been able to navigate my way back into those circles, have those same conversations with those people, but now not as servants, right? Either as clients, as prospect, or as this underdog, this guy who we need to watch out for because he thinks brightly and he's doing amazing stuff. And so here's my final charge to you guys. For those who are still here, I think we still have some people here. Don't downplay your downtimes, right? And never outsource your negotiating power, right? Your essence is your negotiating power. Never outsource it. Your essence is what gives you the edge, right? And you must be able to critically deploy your essence, in a way that it creates an advantage for you. It is not enough to have it if it doesn't create an advantage for you, right? I'm on a job right now. I'm doing things right now that the only thing that is my advantage is this thing I'm doing right now. The fact that I'm able to speak and speak English, the English that China has been yabbing me about is that I can speak it there. I'll speak it there and confuse them, and then right. So I hope this makes sense. I hope you guys got value, and I'm sorry, China, I had to, but thank you so much, guys.
Can we share the grace now? I think we are done. Thank you for sharing that story. What stood out for me is your essence is a negotiating power.
Yeah.
If you are going out of this place with nothing, just hold on to this one with two hands. Your essence is a negotiating power. It is what you will hold on to make demands. When Duke started, he said, when you discover your essence, when you are authentic, you can start to make demands. It is your essence that you can hold on to make demands, from life. But if you don't understand it, you continue to live the life of a servant, and you continue to be in the wrong places at the wrong time.
Doing the right things, and
Doing
not
the
getting
right
the
thing.
rewards.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. Please, what can we say to Duke? I don't have any other question. Like, any other question I have here is irrelevant at this point. Wow, guys, how was it? How was this? What do we say to Duke? Start dropping your comments. Start dropping your comments. Start dropping your comments. Wow. James says, I'm not going to pronounce your name, James, don't worry. James says, thank you very much, sir. I have these words for you. Those who made themselves into legendary book of archive of achievers have made tremendous mental sacrifice. You have made tremendous mental sacrifices. Thank you for the charge. Oh, how nice. Thank you.
Thank you, James.
Thank
Thank you, James.
Divine Favor says, your essence is a negotiating power. You hold on to your essence and make demands from life. Absolutely. It is value packed. Thank you, sir, for this valuable session. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Duke, let us just share the grace. I don't think I have anything to say to you. And I don't even think anybody has any question now at this point, because if you sit with everything he has said, trust me, you're going to get the answers that you're looking for. Okay, so I sincerely and honestly encourage you to go back to this replay, to this recording on YouTube, and watch. If you're watching the replay, congratulations, because it's not easy to watch replays actually, but you've watched to this point, sit with every point that resonates with you, because I understand it's not everything that he says that resonates with you personally as an individual, but the ones that really tie to where you are at this point, hold on to them, ruminate on them. There's a reason meditation is important. Meditate on them so you can gain the clarity you're looking for. Thank you so much, Duke. Let me see what other people have to say about this.
Thank you, Nazar.
Macbeth says, my essence is my negotiating power. Divine Favor says, you are phenomenal, Duke. Abigail says,
Thank you.
thank you so much for this power-packed session. Chineye says, I love that one cannot know what they know. I'm so grateful I was here. These are the things I would like to hear. Divine Force says, I got value. Juliet says, thanks, Duke, for upholding God in all. That was very, very tremendous. The fact that you always put him first.
Thank you.
For every question, there is a God element in it. That really stood out. Thank you so much. Jen Johnson says
Thank
the
you,
right
Neva.
place has exponential power. Yes,
Mm.
yes. Thank you. Thank you. Naza, thanks for making God the chief host. This is amazing. I mean, who am I? This is not about me. Thank you, guys. But this is not about me. It's about our guest and you. Thank you for staying put. Duke, I'll have to let you go at this point. Is there anything from you that we can get? How do we connect with you? Do you have any program that we can enroll for or into? Let us know.
So currently, I think the best place to connect with me is on Instagram. I'm moving camp from Facebook. I don't know, for some reason I've just not been in sync with Facebook anymore like that. So I most likely will be moving camp from Facebook to Instagram and Twitter. I told you about it before. So let me go and express my essence on Twitter.
Did I hear
Twitter,
Twitter?
yes. Yeah.
Okay, goodness.
So in case you see me trending anytime, any of these days, know that I went to go and express my essence there.
I thought we agreed that you're not going to answer that call.
Okay, so guys, you can connect to me on Instagram. Yeah, that's better. And then, of course, we just finished the Polaris virtual boot camp, and then we'll be curating conversations on Polaris. Maybe monthly conversations. Those ones will be free webinars, and then the boot camps are quarterly. So you could just keep your eye out for the next announcement on Polaris. It's completely free, so you can always jump in and get value. Yeah, but
Thank you.
Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, I'm good anywhere. Thank you so much, Naza. Appreciate you.
Thank you too. I love you so much. I love you like I love you.
Aww.
Thank you for being so real. Thank you for being so authentic. Thank you for being supportive. Thank you for living in your essence and for all the
Ice
insight
cream.
that you shared with us. Thank you for showing up fully and unreservedly. Thank you so so much. And I hope you have a very wonderful
Thank
night's
you, Naza.
rest. Let me let you go now, okay?
Thank you, Naza. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. My goodness. See, at this point, me, I have nothing to say again. Nothing at all. Nothing to say. Because what in the world was that value that was just shared? Like, what? What? That was phenomenal. Anyway, let me use this opportunity to also again invite you to the Essence Conference 2024 taking place in Lagos. So if these conference conversations can be like this, trust me, you can't even start to imagine what the real conference, not real now, what the physical conference is like, because this is real, right? The people that are put together with the help of, the Holy Spirit and God helping us for the physical conference, you will sit down and you not even remember that you've not eaten, that you've not even drunk water, because the value will be too much for you to to hold on to. So if you are in Lagos, you are in Nigeria, you're outside Nigeria, anywhere you are, make your way down to Lagos on the 1st of June 2024. Quickly, let me share the flyers again. We have the 15,000 naira flyer, which is the basic flyer, the premium pass to the event. This gives you full access to the conference and keynote sessions, free conference materials, networking opportunities, a free copy of Dear Young One that will be launched on that day, and access to event recordings. Okay, it is 15,000 naira, but from now to the 1st of May, you get to pay just 10,000 naira. After that, the price goes back to 15,000 naira. We have the Gold Pass, which is basically everything in the premium ticket plus the boot camp with Mr. Gochukwu Omogo, the exclusive Essence Bootcamp with Mr. Kochukwu Omogu and Chinaza Favor. That is where I'll be holding you by the hand and guiding you through several exercises, through several transformative sessions that are going to help you to curate your own experiences, curate your own essence, unearth your essence and create experiences for yourself that are aligned with it. Okay? That is it. For 50,000 naira, you can gain access to the exclusive bootcamp with Mr. Gochukwu Omogu and myself. But if you pay from now till 1st of May, you can get it for 45,000 naira only. Okay, and if you are a group, you can also pay for a group of 5, you get 10% off your total registration fee. Okay, so let's say you are paying 10,000 naira for you're paying for the premium ticket and you are a group of 5. Instead of paying just 10,000 naira now, why don't you just come together as a group and pay 50,000 naira? Then you remove 10% of that. You get to pay, let's say, about 45,000 naira instead of paying 50,000 naira total. That is a steal, if you ask me, given what you'll be gaining from the conference and for being present. All right. Now, to make payment, you just have to pay whatever price that is on the ticket you want to buy. You pay into this account number here. That number, please confirm the number before, confirm the name, GemSport Solutions, before you make payment, all right? Wema Bank. And when you are done making payment, send your proof of payment to this number on WhatsApp so that you can be confirmed and added to the group that is for Essence Conference Lagos. I see some of you in the pre-conference sessions group are trying to join the group that is made for the Lagos group, but you cannot gain access until you pay. Okay, so wherever you are, make it a date with me and the amazing people that will be coming to share their insights with you. I cannot review them yet just because I choose not to. When it is time to review them, you will know the powerhouses that we are bringing your way on the 1st of June. All right. So, like I said earlier, early bird discount is valid from now till 1st of June of May. After that, the prices go back to their normal. The tickets go back to their normal prices, 15,000 naira and 50,000 naira. That is all about it. Did you gain anything from this session? If you did, and you've not shared this video, I don't know what to tell you. On Facebook, I said I will have just people who shared this video. That means you didn't get enough value from it, I suppose. But if you did, I hope you've taken screenshots and that you are going to go and pepper those ones that did not join so that next time they're going to join. Next week, we'll be having another amazing person. I forgot to ask Mr. Duke what question he will be leaving for the next speaker. I'll get that privately from him. But for our next session, we'll be having a phenomenal human being whom I so admire and cannot wait to interview on this series. So I want to say a very big thank you to all of you for joining me and for sticking with me through the technical challenges, and to our guests also who showed up powerfully. Duke, thank you so much for being here and for loving us and for sharing from your wealth, from your wells, and from your bowels. That's how it's spoken, right? For sharing from your bowels, from the fountain of your wealth of knowledge. Thank you for sharing with us unreservedly. We love you. We appreciate you for the value that you just shared. All right, everyone. I want to say good night to you and thanks for being here. Till I come your way again next time, I remain your host, Chinaza Favor, convener, Essence Conferences. Well, the Essence Conference 2024 for now. Someone says, Naza, you are the best. Thank you very much. It is my honor to be hosting this and to have you on here. Jim says, sorry, Madam Chinaza, thank you for shaping lives. What do we owe you for making many lives better? Just just come on and come to the live to the physical event. That's all. That's all. If your life is better, mine is better too as a result. Okay, Esther says, thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Ma'am Favor, for hosting this. This was another mind stimulating conversation. Okay, so you sound almost like Daddy J.O. and it's beautiful. Jill, come and take your compliment. Thank you so much, Esther, for that. Divine Force says, I'm glad I made it to serve. I was selected. Awesome. I cannot wait to, see what we can make of the SS conference, Lagos. Have a good night's rest, everyone. I'll see you next Sunday, same time, same station, and with a different and beautiful and amazing guest. Do have a wonderful night's rest. Bye.